Jorge has imagined how to make electronic devices without a battery. He eliminates the battery. It's not about green batteries. It's not about recyclable batteries. It's not about rechargeable batteries. It's about no batteries. Now, that is the world I want to expose children to. That is it. Because when I think about the whale, the story goes that there is a whale swimming in the Pacific Ocean, and there is a seagull passing by. And the seagull looks down, sees the huge whale. But it's a baby whale. It's not a big whale yet. It's just a baby whale. You know, it only weighs 6 tons. You know, I mean, it's just a little whale. And it says, you know, oh wow, how are you doing? This whale looks up and says, oh my God, I want to fly. You want to fly? You can swim. No, 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 no. I want to see the world from up there where you are. I said, but you know, you're swimming from Arctic to equator and back. I mean, why did you ever want to worry about flying? I can't fly that far. I said, no, 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 no. You know, I have those little flippers. And I'm going to try to just get out of the ocean and get up in the air and look around. And jumps up and goes down, but of course doesn't get up to the air. And kind of a sad sound comes from the whales. Oh, I don't really want to fly, you know. I really would like to be up there. And I said, you know, look, you must have the biggest heart in the world. Me? Heart? Yeah, you have a heart, right? Yes, of course, all animals have a heart. Well, tell me, how many liters of blood are you pumping through your heart? Me? But I'm just a baby, you know. I'm doing only 100 liters per pulse. But my mom says if I'm eating well, I'm going to be pumping 1,000 liters when I'm as big as my dad. 1,000 liters. How do you do that? Well, you know, I just eat well. So what do you eat? Because as far as I know, you don't eat any meat, you don't eat any fruits, and you don't eat any veggies. No, all I eat is some krill and some small fishes who get stuck in my teeth, you know. What do you mean? You don't eat any meat and no vegetables and no fruits and you have all the calories. All I need to pump my heart and to make electricity is my food. Stop, says the seagull. You're making electricity? Of course. Everyone makes electricity. And how do you do it? I don't know. It just the stuff in my food gets together and creates electric shock and my heart pumps and that's the way it is. Wow, says the seagull, probably you make so much electricity you can power the lighthouse. And it only has just begun. Because what happens when you expose children to this story? Some kids start thinking about pumps. And their father is an engineer and he works in pumps. He said, Dad, what's the strongest pump you have? And Dad will go in his brochures and give him all the documentation. Dad, I have a pump that actually works with 6 volts and pumps 1,000 liters. You're crazy, it doesn't exist. There's Dad, it exists. Swimming in the ocean. Swimming in the ocean. Who makes these pumps? The whale. You know, you can imagine Dad thinks that the son is a little bit out of order. And his creativity is going too far and his fantasy got loose again. And he must have been playing on one of these games and he got wrong inspiration. The reality is that when children hear the stories, every single story is based on science. The science is there. Not only the science is there, I get the scientist alive. You know, this is not Einstein who died, you know, a couple of years ago. This is not Madame Curie. Every scientist for every fable is alive. And that is key. Because we need to use living sciences. Things that have come to us now. And it has taken him 50 years to come to the point of the battery-free. But it is the life story of these scientists that is such an inspiration. Now, some children, they think about the battery and electricity and their Game Boy and their iPad. And how can I have now an iPad and a cell phone that doesn't need any chargers anymore? Because the whale doesn't have any chargers. The whale doesn't have a battery. And so for the child, immediately, it's very obvious that since the whale doesn't have a battery and can pump 1,000 liters, why do we need to have the batteries? Why does Dad have to run around with a charger at home, a charger in the office, a charger in the car, and the charger he lost. You know, because we all have 4 chargers, and sometimes 5 because we lose them 1 or 2 times. And they never come back. So for the child, some of them is this, but then the other child is kind of fascinated by the fact that his heart keeps on beating thanks to the good food. And it's amazing that from my experience with more than 300,000 children around the world, the children know within 1 month, the whole class knows the 3 chemical components that make the heart beat. It's fascinating. It's not in the book. It's not there. And once I was with a group of scientists, pedagogues in Brazil, and I asked them, how is it actually possible that the children who are 7 years old know the word potassium, sodium, calcium? Try to teach it. Never works. Try to tell them what it is good for. Never works. But knowing that you can pump 1,000 liters with this stuff, these things, the children want to know what is it. And not only do they know it, it immediately spreads to everyone. So if the kid wants to know what is making this heart beat, then the kids will figure it out. And once they know, they're excited about it, everyone knows. It's faster than Facebook. It's quicker than Twitter. It is amazing how deep it goes, how fast it goes, because there is a great motivation behind it. Very other children, they immediately go into the thinking about food. And they're wondering, where is my potassium, sodium, calcium? Where do I get it? Something that is not even on the labels of the food. We only talk about fat. We talk about protein. But if you don't have potassium supplied to your body on a regular basis, you do have irregular heartbeats. We say in English, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. We should be saying a banana a day keeps the doctor away. Because bananas are great suppliers of potassium. You eat the banana, you eat the eggshell, and with that peel of the banana and the peel of the egg, we will make electricity. And we're going to show it to you with the voltmeter. You're making your own electricity, just like your body does. Now, when the children have gone through that experience, you're trying to convince them that the future is nuclear. Try to convince them the future is nuclear energy. They don't understand it. What are you talking about? And try to convince the children that batteries are the basis of electronics, mobile electronics. They don't believe you. Because they know that if I, at the age of 5 or 6, can make my own electricity with a banana peel and an eggshell, in what kind of a world do you guys live? And it is very important that we're building this confidence amongst the children that the future they see is much better than their parents can even imagine. Now, this is Alice in Wonderland. You remember the movie, Alice in Wonderland? Yeah. So Alice goes around and is excited about everything, and it is so exciting that she's so disappointed she has to wake up. The fables that I've written are fables that are written so that you never want to go to sleep. Because it is so exciting, and it's no dream, it's reality. And that's part of what happens in the fable of the whale. What happened in the fable of the whale is, you remember at the beginning, the whale wanted to fly. Now, a flying whale is fantasy, at least for the next 10 million years. Maybe afterwards, yeah, it may be possible. And so, since the whale wants to fly, that is fantasy. But when the seagull says, you could power the lighthouse, that is vision. Because somehow the power of the whale is so strong, that cult is so strong, it could power a lighthouse. And so what we're doing, and this is what we call the emotional intelligence, we're helping children with every single story to understand the difference between fantasy, vision, and reality. So we need people, and now I believe that in every classroom, every child has a capability. Every child has a capability, without exception, To me, there are not children with high IQ and low IQ. They're teachers who inspire and they're teachers who do not inspire. That's the difference. But not every teacher is a storyteller, a natural storyteller. And it doesn't have to be. We need to incite the children to be their best. And when we can see that children walk through this world of fantasy, vision, and reality, we are shaping their future. Because it is a very delicate thread. What is now the fantasy? And when you're frustrated, you'll have the violence. You'll have the drugs. Because when it doesn't evolve from the fantasy to the vision and the reality, they stay in their fantasy world. And it's nice to live up in the clouds, but the landing is hard. We have to guide the children. To me, therefore, the most important time for the children is when they are so young. The fables, I start with the fables at 2 and 3 years old, telling them the story and showing the pictures. Somehow, when they're 3 years old and they act crazy, we clap in our hands because we love it. And they're 6 years old and they're in class and they're not allowed to do it anymore. Why do we do that? Why don't we let this creativity flow, but provide a framework? Provide a basis of inspiration. So every child, according to her or his interests, can navigate to the areas in which they're best. They feel more comfortable. They're happier. Because in the end of the day, coming to this earth, I think is a challenge to be happy. Happy and healthy. And when you can do something for a community in your society, you can be happy and healthy. When you feel you're fulfilling yourself, you can be feeling happy and healthy.